All right. Hello, everyone out there. This is Tommy Valentine. I have the pleasure of serving as the Executive Director of Historic Athens. We want to thank you all for tuning in today for our 1 o'clock episode. This is episode 20 out of 55 in our series called This Moment in History, COVID-19 in Athens, Georgia. Each day, what we're doing is we're taking some time to talk to a different community leader, whether it's an elected official, community organizer, someone that works for our city. It takes a lot of different community leaders to keep Athens going. And so this is an opportunity for you to get to know them a bit better, understand their work a bit better, but also to understand how this moment in time with COVID-19 is also impacting their work. A quick note before we begin, if this is your first episode that you've tuned into, we want you to know that this isn't just for you to listen to, you can participate. If you comment below this video, as long as it is still live, we can include that comment on screen. So if you have a word of encouragement, if you have a question, if you have a comment, if based on where the dialogue's going, you want a little bit more information, please just comment right below the video and we'll be able to include it in the dialogue that we're having today. That's especially important because there's really two audiences for this discussion. The first is our 2020 audience, the audience that's tuning in today or that's replaying these videos through our digital archive. That's an important audience. In fact, if you haven't watched the previous 19 episodes, we encourage you to go to the videos section of our Facebook page and see the other 19 episodes, choose some of your favorite community leaders and find out more about how they're navigating this. But there's a second audience, and that second audience are future generations. When we finish this 55 episode series, our plan is to contribute this entire digital archive to local research institutions and libraries so that if future generations, 50, 60, 70, 100 years from now, want to look back and get a sense of what this moment was like, who was leading our community, and how they navigated it, they'll have the ability to do so. So be a part of that historic record by contributing a question or a comment. We'd love to have you participate in today's dialogue. A quick personal aside before I bring on our guest. Athens is a tightly knit community. And so for any viewer out there, I'm sure if you were hosting this series instead of me, I'm sure the guest you'd bring on, you'd have your own personal connection to, just like many of you have a personal connection with Montu, our guest today. I'll say as a personal aside that I've had the pleasure of knowing Montu since I was in high school. He's been an important mentor to so many local community organizers, hip hop artists, and just people in Athens in general. And so it's a personal pleasure to have Montu on. It'll make it tricky to know how to introduce him because I've known him as someone who's worn so many different hats. And he's someone who's still wearing so many hats today. But I just want to make sure that that I personally acknowledge what a pleasure it is to have Montu on today. So about halfway through the program, if this is your first time interacting with Historic Athens, we'll tell you a little bit more about the organization. But for right now, the most important thing is let's go ahead and get our guest on the screen. And so just give me one moment to switch out some things in our stream, and we'll go ahead and bring in Montu Miller. So you should be on screen here in just a moment. All right, Montu, hello. Hi, how are you?
What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up? Montu, for those of you that are just tuning in, we have noticed that there's a little bit of a buzz on the audio. We're glad we're recording that as much as we're recording everything else because technology in 2020 right now means a lot of video chats in a lot of different environments. Montu, jumping right into helping our audience get to know you, as I said, for a lot of people tuning in, they'll already know you. They'll already know a lot of your work, but there may be some viewers that don't know you yet. And so could you take a moment to introduce yourself, tell the audience who you are, and tell them about the work that you're doing in our community?
Sure. Montu Miller, originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, came to Georgia in '95, actually. I went to Atlanta first, went down there and went to school to Morris Brown College. Kind of went here and there, was really more of an observer down there because coming from, Midwest city, Atlanta was way different for me. wasn't able to afford Morris Brown College, moved off campus, kind of went here and there and here, and then ended up in Athens because I was still wanted to go to school, but just couldn't afford Morris Brown College. So came to UGA in about 2000, kind of, bounced around there trying to figure out their environment here. I actually met Lemuel LaRoche, which y'all know as Life. And him along with some other people, we started this organization called the Dreaded Minds Family. What that was it was students, intellectuals, community members, musical people from around town, and we used to get together every Thursday and do this thing called the Cipher. We would sit in a circle and share poetry, share rhymes, share thoughts, talk about current events. It was just a really dope environment, just to kind of bring people together. It got me a chance to know the community. From there was a lot of MCs that were showing up to the Cipher, so it actually morphed into this thing called Battle Lounge, which was every Friday. And every Friday, the MCs would get together and do some battle. Like they would just, it was a really dope hip hop environment where we get MCs together, where they'd be collabing and they would be rhyming, they'd be battling each other, and it really turned into it really got crazy. Like it really turned into this whole musical entity within Athens. That got really big, so we started looking for venues downtown, and our first venue was actually at Tasty World. Amun Ra, who is a Athenian, local born and bred Athenian, actually offered us to open up one of the shows downtown. So we got some poets to do that. And then from there, I saw that, okay, Murphy at Tasty World was allowing us to kind of do what we wanted to do. So we started doing shows at Tasty World. And then we started doing shows at Caledonia. And then we just started doing a lot of shows. So from there, and if you also parallel at that time on campus, Life and a few of us had this organization called Now's the Time. There was our big platform was there was only 1.9% Black males at UGA. So we was doing silent protests in front of President Adams' office. We were just really loud on campus. So that got me involved with the politics in Athens. And that's when I was, going to commissioner meetings and just really trying to like put my boots on the ground and get involved in Athens here, as far as politically. That kind of happened on and off through the years. Music kind of happened on and off through the years. So I was always kind of been involved in like the political kind of community organization side of Athens, as well as the music side, on top of the fact that I'm an educator. I was going to school to actually become a social studies teacher, but because, ended up going on a national tour with Issues and KRS-One and life happening, started having children, wasn't able to go back to school, still wasn't going back to school. So I became a paraprofessional at Clark Central High School. I did that for 10 years. So kind of gave me the education base that I was looking for, kind of taught me what I needed to know. I was working really closely with a really fine educator named Miss Mooney, Elizabeth Mooney. She taught me a lot, as well as, Ragsdale over at Clark Central. Just a lot of the good teachers over there kind of taught me the dynamics of education, got me in there. Let's see. So I deal with the education, music, politics, and just really, my main goal is really just to kind of be centered in Athens and really understand what the people need. Like what do actual everyday people that go to work, what do they need, and what do their children need, and what do their elders need? So I always feel like I'm sort of an advocate, ambassador, kind of conduit sometimes from the community side, all the way to like the music, the politics, and the education side. So I'm kind of the go-between sometimes. It's not about my voice. It's usually my main thing is it's about the people's voice. I really want the people to be seen and known and not be voiceless. So that's why a lot of my shows, I will pretty much let anybody on stage, whether they're starting out, whether they're not that good, because I want them to be heard. I want to, I'm with the LSGT team at Clark Middle because I want the voices of people who normally wouldn't go to those kind of meetings to be heard. That's why I try to deal with a lot of the politicians inside of Athens, because I really want the politicians to know what the people are being, what's being said, what needs to be heard. So I really try to take myself out of a lot of the environments I'm in, and I feel like I can speak for a lot of the environments just because all I'm doing is taking what you said and what you're doing and bringing it to these different sectors of society in Athens that I kind of deal with. So I do that, and I'm actually at East Athens Community Center right now. I am the recreational assistant here. So it's giving me a whole nother side of the community because I'm dealing with the community like right there with their children, right there with them, right, coming in and renting these kind of things. So it's kind of the different roles that I've played in Athens, as well as being a father of 5, as well as having a fiance, as well as my mom 4 years ago, my mom and sister and brother 4 years ago, I actually brought them down here to Athens. So they was able to get out of Midwest and that crazy cold and come down here. So I'm a brother, a father, a mentor, and just really try to have my boots on the ground. It's kind of my momentum. Like I want to really know what's going on the ground level. Like I want to be right there. So if a lot of people know me for saying that in meetings, because it's not just some cute thing that I say. I really stand by that because I believe you can be a politician, you can be a teacher, you can be all these things, but if you don't have your boots on the ground and really dealing with the people, then it doesn't matter.
So too, I want to jump in real quick here. I see we've had some comments. I want to bring them up on screen. First of all, AZ, Arizona Zimmerman, just gave us double rock hands to 2. We love AZ. Historic Athens, appreciate AZ, his help with Porch Fest last year. So thanks to AZ. Jeremy Field jumped in with a shout out for Taster World. I miss Taster World every day, so it's good to hear Taster World up. I couldn't be doing this if Murphy hadn't given me chances. So I appreciate that. Tom Hodgson, who helps us with the Athens Welcome Center. We love Tom. Also has a great cookbook out there. But Tom Hodgson, Tom is here. Good to see you, Tom. And then Calico, the man, the myth, the legend, jumped in to say Battle Lounge. So too, I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna grab something that I want to show you here for one question I have. But while I'm doing that, I know you highlighted the East Athens Community Center, and I realized that's a resource that not everyone in the community even realizes exists. Not everyone's taking advantage of. Not everyone realizes that's a place that people can show some support. We got one other shout out here of Home Team, and then of course
North Side.
That's right, and of course we've got
beautiful fiance, of course, always support me. I couldn't do anything. And let me just say before you even keep going, because I really want to highlight this. I do a lot, but this is not, I'm not an island. This is not something I do by myself. I want everybody to know that I couldn't do anything without my rock, my beautiful fiance, my woman, my lover, my friend, Amelia. We call her Pooh. Like, she has been, when I got to go out and do interviews and go and teach and do things, she's doing things with the children. When I need somebody to write something on the board for me, she does it. When I need her to walk the door for me, I literally can ask this woman anything and she'll do it for me. So there's nothing that I can do without this partner on my side. And she is a godsend. She's my world. You know,
Yeah.
she is my world, and there's nothing that could be done without her. So when you hear me speak, when you hear me in the community, when you see me in the community, and you see the pictures with me, if you don't see her, you're basically hearing her and seeing her, because we are one. Like I could not do this without her.
So true. And also, any of us who've known you for any period of time, there's kind of like the before and after. Even though you knew her before we knew you,
Right.
the before and after of Amelia popping up on the scene. And so she popped up again to say we support each other. So that's beautiful. Don't make me cry, y'all. All right. So two. Here's my question. Okay. So I'm sitting in front of our bookcases. So many people these days, when we're doing these video chats, we're in front of these bookcases, which means we're actually like looking at the books on our shelves. And so yesterday I pulled out, this is my old Cedar Shoals yearbook, and which feels like yesterday, but we're talking about almost 20 years ago. And this little brat right here, I don't know if you can see him, but that little dude right there, that's me when you met me. Here's another one of that's what I looked like before time. But what the reason why this is a question is that's how I looked when you met me, and you've watched me go through my changes. And it's not that you haven't changed, but when I think about you or life, the leaders that I had the chance as a young person to meet through Dreaded Minds, I think one of the things that's remarkable is not the changes, but the consistency, especially the consistency of vision and approach. And it seems to me like for the last 2 decades, your approach to community activism, to community organizing, to promoting and developing the local hip hop scene in what is known as a music town, but where a whole genre of music is often overlooked. It's been remarkably consistent for 2 decades. Can you speak to some of what motivates and fuels that consistency?
Well, I got to give shouts to my mother and all the great women that raised me, because that's what they always taught me. If you're going to do something, do it right. So this is something that I've always wanted to do growing up. I'll tell a quick story. So I was I was a little knucklehead, like preteen and whatnot. And my mom had me clean out this bookcase of hers that I used to always see. And I came across all these like really revolutionary books that I had no clue about. Autobiography of Malcolm X was in there. George Jackson Prison Letters was in there. I think there was this book that was dealing with roots was in there. But anyways, I say this, like, that was my introduction. Like, I started reading these books and I was like, wow, it completely opened up my mind. So I knew like there was a bigger world than what I lived. I learned about Malcolm X. I learned about Asada. I learned about George Jackson and all the Panthers. So I just knew that I needed to do this. So I give credit to all the ancestors and all the people who came before me, because it's something that, this is something that I really don't like to play with. So it's the one thing that people always say to me is always like, you're still doing it. And I'm like, why wouldn't I be? I know I get tired. I know I got a lot of things going on, but I think the consistency just comes from the it's ingrained in my DNA. It's ingrained in me to just make sure that my people are doing better, or at least I'm gonna die trying.
Right.
So my thing is, I just want to consistently do it on as great a level as I can do it. And just really having the community that surrounds me. Like Athens, when I came into Athens, Athens just gave me a big hug, man. Like I came in and I didn't want to come into Athens like some carpetbagger and come in here and like, oh, this is how you need to be doing it. The first thing that I did, the first years that I was in Athens, was I really was just amongst the people, like learning the people, introducing myself to the people. So to me, it's been done on a consistent level in Athens. So I just wanted to contribute to it, and I just didn't want to stop, because it doesn't stop. So even when I'm gone, it's not going to stop. Right. So I want to train these young people when I'm in school. I want to train them to come to be the next leaders, the next doctors, the next lawyers, the next, bus drivers, the next whatever you become. So the consistency just comes from just seeing the vision and just pushing the vision and just really wanting to see, you know, equity in our community and really wanting to see my people strive and do better. So I think it's just in my DNA, man. I don't know. I can't really say it's a multitude of things from the people that I surround, you know, because I don't think they surround me. I surround them. You know, I go to them. I want to be in the community. I want to be in the music scene. I want to be amongst the politicians because I believe those three layers right there are very important in just moving this town forward.
Well, I know that part of that moving the town forward has been the way that you've interacted with local political figures and politics. I know you mentioned that earlier. In just a moment, I'm going to bring up a comment from local community figure and elected official, Commissioner Tim Denson, who just jumped into the comment feed. And so I think he's got some good questions here I want to share with you. Those questions are going to tilt things now towards the moment we're living through now, which is COVID-19
Sure.
and the way it's affecting our community. But two, before I forget, speaking of COVID-19, one of the ways it's having such an impact on us right now is the impact it's had on local performers who are unable to perform. You know, people that can't even earn the few extra dollars they were earning through getting out there that way. I know that Ath Factor, and I know the crew of people that you run with recently launched a merchandise store where you can actually jump on and purchase some merchandise and support some of those local hip hop artists. If somebody's viewing right now and wants to support a local artist, local hip hop artist, can you tell them how they can find that page and maybe make that purchase?
Sure. It's posted on my page and it's posted on the Ath Factor page. It's a link. It's through Satisfactory Printing. So I don't think you can go straight to Satisfactory Printing website, but it is a link. And I tell you what, I will post it when I get off here. But it is also, if you go to, I think it's some of the last posts in Ath Factor store.
Great.
Or excuse me, page.
Well, what I'll say is for people out there that are tuning in, if any of you have the chance, if you want to jump on the Ath Factor Facebook page or Montu's page and share that link with us right now in the comments section, I'll go ahead and share that on screen if anyone has the chance to do that. So if not, then we'll make sure it's shared in the comments after this video is over. Two, I want to go ahead and pull up Tim's question here. This is Commissioner Tim Denson. Tim said, Montu, you've been amazing at helping so many performers access the public, but also making Athens hip hop more accessible to the general public. How do you think we can still ensure that accessibility during this pandemic? So, what do you think? How do we do that?
I ain't gonna lie, it's hard. Like, this is a whole new, you know, this is a shift for everybody, really big shift for me. Because I'm just so used to live shows. So we did do a quarantine concert at Vega Studios for First Tuesdays, not this month, but last month. And it worked out well. It did okay. But it just didn't, you know, from what we paid to Vega Studios and the tips we got, we basically paid to play, you know, which I just don't agree with. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't have the answer to that. I mean, we put up the merch store and I'm hoping that we have this thing going around called 100 Friends Only One T-shirt. So if we can get 100 friends to just buy one T-shirt from our artists, so helping out that way. If you do see artists going live, if they have tip jars set up, please put $1 helps. Because, you know, the funny thing is, so that Vegas Studios quarantine concert we had upwards to, like, I think at one point, like 4,000 people watching it, right?
Wow.
So what I said to DJ Chief Rocco, I was like, if everybody just gave $1,
that $1,
we would have had $4,000.
Right.
But see, that's the problem with Athens, and I'm not gonna lie. And people who know me know I'm gonna keep it straight. The community loves to support from far away.
Yeah.
You know, Athens loves to support. It's like, oh yeah, we have a hip hop scene, and oh yeah, things are going great, and I love so and so. They'll even be able to list Blanco and Caulfield and Motorhead and Celine. They'll be able to list all these names. But when it comes down to coming to the shows, or it comes down to giving that $5 or $3, or it comes down to buying a T-shirt, or it comes down to something, we normally don't get that support. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, getting some money in these artists' pocket is the best way that I've seen, is possibly through some of these grants. I think Nucci's has a grant. There's a bunch of grants going on, so I've been encouraging people to apply for them. But going through this thing right now is honestly, for a lot of the artists, is making it even worse than we already weren't in the greatest position, doing shows and merch. But this is a big hit for a lot of these guys, man. Like for some of them, they were working part-time, and then like to supplement their income was the merch and the shows. So for that being on, like, I know for a fact there's some artists in Athens that are hurting right now. That are like, it's not a good situation. So I know it was a long way to answer this question, but Tim, I honestly don't have the answer, man. Like I don't know. If somebody has the answer and somebody can, contact me and let me know, okay, let's try this avenue or try this avenue, then I'm all willing. Y'all know me. I like to be the dumbest person in the room, not the smartest person in the room. So please let us know, because I just don't know, man. This whole COVID-19 thing is like completely altered everything, and I just don't know. Like it's from our education, the end of the school year, a lot of kids just weren't able to get the education that they needed. And I don't fault the teachers, I don't fault the district, I don't fault the parents, although in a sense I think we can point the fingers to everybody, but I'm not going to focus on just the district's fault or just the teacher's fault or just the parents' fault. I think it's everybody's fault we weren't ready, because for years we should have had a contingency plan in place for all of this. We should have been ready for this. The reason we're not, and I'm not going to blame just one politician. I'm blaming just the American system that we're in for us not having these contingency plans set up. And this thing has exposed a lot of leadership. This thing has exposed a lot of parenting and non-parenting. This thing is exposed people to the core to like, this is where we're really at. I mean, I hate that it took this, but this is where we're at in this moment in time, with education, with the music scene, with politics, with everything. This right here is exposing the truth for a lot of people, that like we need to be prepared, and not just COVID-19, but we need to be prepared for anything that can happen. It's like we should have been able to go to the bookshelf, and there should have been a contingency plan for this, and we should have been able to pull it off the shelf and open it up and at least implement it, at least been ready. But so many times, whether it been the school district or politicians or workplaces, where everybody's like, I don't know, I don't know what's going on, or you're like almost going day to day trying to figure out, well, am I going to work? Am I not going to work? What are the stipulations that we have that if you do go outside, what is this? Nobody really knew what was going on. And it took like, really, we still don't, but it took like a month for some of these organizations to even just kind of like get balance, when I don't know. I mean, I'm just speaking from the heart, so I could be wrong, but I just really think we could have been more prepared for this, and it's unfortunate that like a lot of children are going to go to school next year and not be ready. It's unfortunate that a lot of people are losing their jobs right now. A lot of people don't even know what is their next step. They don't know where to go, so it's taking a hit. Like we're taking a hit. And I mean, I hope this shows that like we're really not as strong as we think we are. And then just to take Athens for example, Athens is this shiny image of this city on the hill, but like this exposed that it's really not. Like this is showing like these levels of poverty, like what that means, and this education, what that means. Like what it means across the board is we weren't ready, so we can either get ready or keep doing the same things we've been doing and chasing our tail and having leadership in place that isn't ready, and having people in place that have no idea what's going on, whether you're in leadership, whether you're in middle management, or whether you're just a common worker, want to just work, and maybe you are a bus driver and trying to figure out what's going on. We need to all take this time to actually prepare ourselves for the future, and not just future pandemics, but who knows, like future alien attacks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I say that in a joking way, but like we need to be prepared for these things. And I just feel like we are not. We're not prepared, and that includes me.
Right.
I'm not speaking. I don't in no way, shape, or form ever want to make it seem like I know what I'm talking about. But I am someone who's going to give some social commentary on what's going on in our city, because I've been doing this long enough to know that, like, for years we've been saying certain things have not been ready, certain things have not been fair, certain things that could be the trajectory is headed in a not good way. But right. Now it's being shown. I don't know.
Well, too. So the interesting thing is, when you first of all, let me just a couple things here. I'm going to throw this up on the screen while I say what I'm about to say. If you jump in our comment section right now, we appreciate y'all sharing. This is the link to the t-shirt shop. Satisfactory Printing is set up. Next week, Satisfactory is doing a great thing right now. If you're a local organization, you're someone who's looking to get some t-shirts printed, we're about to launch a t-shirt store next week. I know a lot of organizations. There's some really incredible local Athens merch, including the merchandise at the link you see right there. So definitely check it out. Too, it's funny, when we talk about the alien attack thing, right? I mean, the truth is, even a year ago, if you could hop in a time machine and go back a year ago and talk to Montu a year ago, and you were to tell him a year ago, hey, the whole world's going to be shut down, and describe what's going on right now, it would probably feel about as far-fetched as an alien attack that this would happen. And yet here we are. Tim submitted a fun bonus question. Tim, I'm not ignoring that. I'm going to share it for a little bit of a lighter period later in the interview. But Tim did, in response to your question or your answer, just say, I'm just glad you're out there still trying. So I want to jump now to a question from Jody Barnes. You were already speaking to some of this. So Jody said, I'm concerned about everyone, but especially our kids. What are your ideas about what we can do now in this summer to benefit them?
Okay, so talking to one of my best friends in the world, Travis Williams, like we talk about this all the time. So what needs to be done right now is we have to identify these children that are in need. Like we've handled the food situation, in my eyes, great. So I feel like we're getting food to the right communities that need food, food deficiency and stuff like that. But as far as education, we need to identify these children that need these teachers to go to their house, or absolutely be there online with them, or however that looks, that has to be identified. And, I was talking to my kids, about a week ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm sorry that this happened, but because this happened, we're going to have to handle things a little bit different. So you're not going to have the summer break you did before. Some of these kids that are in need of this, education to make sure they're prepared for the next year, they may not have the summer break that they usually do. The teachers who normally are off during the summer and get to go vacation and whatnot, I'm sorry, but guess what? You cannot do that, because I need you to go to so-and-so's house to make sure they're still reading, or at least their reading is advanced. So by next year, they're at least in some kind of situation. So I think from East Athens to the school system to all these camps, these fun camps that are going on, I think the camps need to be set up in more of an educational based way. We need to make sure that these children are identified, and make sure that they are having their literacy levels are not dropping. Make sure that their math levels are not dropping. Making sure that they're staying at right now we need to at least make sure our children are staying at some sort of level, base level, to where they're not dropping down. And if we can advance them, that's great. So there's a lot of children in this community that that will not need that. I mean, to be completely honest with you, because of my children having me as a father, my children are probably not going to need that, because they've been reading every day for 30 minutes, and they've done their work, and they've had daddy school for the last 2 months,
right.
Which, so, on a light note, they've been like, I want to go back to school because I don't like daddy. Because, but I say that to it's funny, but kids who have parents like me, they don't need the help.
Yeah.
But the ones who have parents that maybe had to work full time during this whole thing and couldn't make sure that their children was doing what they do, we need to make sure they are identified. So this year, camp is not going to be, we're going to flip it. Whereas it used to be where, there was only a small amount of time during camp where we did education stuff, and the majority of it was fun. This year, because of this whole thing that happened, it's got to be flipped. We need to have most of it being education and maybe just a little bit of fun. And to be completely honest with you, with all the great minds we have in Athens, there's no reason that can't happen. And there's also no reason that the education can't be fun. We can do this in a way. Me and Trav talk about this all the time. We can do this in a way to where education is changing anyways. So it's time out for that old schoolhouse, sit in one room, learn one subject for an hour. That's over anyways. So now maybe this is a good time to start bringing in these lessons, these music lessons that are actually educational. These fun STEM lessons that are actually educational. So I say that to say this summer, if we don't identify the children that are in need, that need that education and need to make sure when that new school year starts, they're not ready, then we're spinning our wheels and we're doing the same thing we did for the last 2 months. And we'll just throw this online learning at them. But okay, what about the kids that have five other children in the house? The mother has to work. The father is working full time, so they're hardly there. So like maybe the high school child that's there is trying to teach the younger ones, but then now her education is being neglected. So throwing. I mean, as good as this online thing was, because to my children, I think it was really good because it gave me a chance to be in touch with the teachers and know where they were at. But there's a lot of families that did not have that. Right. There's a lot of families that they weren't just. And I hear people online, the parents just needed to make sure that the kids did the work. What about the parents that have to work full time, have 2 jobs? What are they supposed to do? Right. What if they, there was kids watching kids, there was kids teaching kids, so let's stop with the all this blaming everybody and just figure out and pinpoint where we need where's the real need at? You can't, these teachers know. I'm an educator and I know these educators and I talk to these educators. These educators know which kids are in. I mean, it's a crisis. I mean, it really is. They know that these 5 kids need day-to-day help with math or reading or whatever it is. So we don't need to spend having meetings about other meetings about how we identify these children. We know where these children are. They can be identified. And if it is something as simple as a teacher going to their house and we're still dealing with the social distancing thing outside their window or something. You know what I mean? I mean, I know it ain't that simple, but like it has to be identified. Like it has to be, we have to go put our boots on the ground and actually identify these children and make sure come next school year, they're actually prepared. So we don't spend the first half of the next school year trying to just prepare them for the grade they're already in. So then we just wasted, and I shouldn't say wasted, but there was a half a school year that now they're forever going to be behind. Like at what point are they going to catch up? So we need to just say, you know what, this summer's a wash. It's not going to be fun. It ain't going to be the normal camps. This summer, we need some educational based programs in these camps, in these schools, open up these schools, let these teachers know, I'm sorry, you're not having a summer break. Open up the schools to these teachers. Open up these community centers to these teachers. Open up these businesses. I know for a fact that businesses like Hendershots and World Famous, they are very community based. I know there are businesses in this town that will have people that can come in and tutor. So let's have some one-on-one tutoring. Let's have some volunteer touring. Let's have some people reading to these kids. If this whole city just comes together and really realizes that we need, like we all have to rally around this. And I ain't talking about doing no marches. I ain't talking about doing no online revolutionary work because you're typing what should be happening. I'm talking about you coming and you actually doing the work that needs to be done. And we actually have to do this for this next couple months to make sure our children are prepared come next fall. Then let's do it. Let's stop talking about it. Let's stop, because if I have another meeting that leads to another meeting that leads to another meeting, and all three of the meetings nothing happens, I think I'm gonna scream. Like, it reminded me why I got out of politics years ago. Because it's like, I think people just like talking. Like, if people just like meetings on top of a meeting, I went in the next meeting. Like, stop all that, man. Like, go to that child's house and make sure they're reading, make sure they're doing a thing. Boom, boom, you know. So I don't know. I get passionate about this, so I know I'm just going on.
Well, that's one of the things we want to capture is that passion, so and that urgency.
Real, man. Like, and anybody who's watching this, anybody who knows me, like, it ain't even about me. I don't care if it's Chesson Community. I don't care if it's Mocha's organization. I don't care if it's the Athens Clarke County Commission, the school board, the whatever it is. We absolutely have to make sure our children are prepared for next year, because there is, I'm telling you, there's a large part of them that are not. You know, at one point, Mr. Penley, the principal over at CMS, was saying 30% of the work was coming back. 30%. So, and we know how numbers work. That's probably inflated. So it's probably more like 15-20% that actually turned in their work. So let's stop with all these Zoom meetings about Zoom meetings and actually just, you know what, just go and make sure them children are learning, you know, because I know the teachers did a magnificent job for this. They weren't ready. They didn't know that this was going to happen. And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not blaming the school board. I'm not blaming the teachers. I'm not blaming the parents. I'm saying, you know what? How about we just blame everybody and now let's do the work.
So I see some supportive comments in the thread below. I'm going to share just a few things real quick. Quincy, you know, I know earlier in the conversation I said 12 months ago this would have been crazy to imagine. Quincy jumped in right then to say 6 months ago. That's true. I mean, even just a couple days before spring break, some of this would have been unimaginable. Deborah Gonzalez, also important community leader, jumped in to say Montu has been so instrumental in our community. His voice and the way he showcases marginalized voices are so important. Thanks, Montu, for being you. I want to jump in here. A few of these talking about great subject. I hear and see some parents treating this like an extended vacation, and it's only going to hurt the children. And then she responded as you were wrapping up your remarks to say, you're absolutely right. So
actually, Cynthia, my best friend from Minneapolis. Yeah. But anyway, so
yeah,
North Side.
All right. And then two, just real quick, we've still got about 10 minutes in the broadcast. Right around this time, I typically like to thank our annual sponsors. So just one moment while I do that. So we want to thank the people you see on screen here. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We have been for over 50 years in the Athens area. You know, it's great to have been around that long, but you still have bills every single month. And so we want to make sure we say thank you to the people you see on screen. Without them, we would not be able to survive as an organization. I know Montu is one of our donor members. We want to say thank you to all our donor members out there. There are about 300 people in the Athens area who have stood up and said that they believe local history is important. They think that we can plan for a better future by better understanding our past. And so we appreciate all the support that comes from our donor members. If you'd like to become a member, It starts at only $5 a month. You can do that at historicathens.com. But we want to thank everyone you see on screen for being a sponsor. You can also find out how to become a sponsor there. And then last note on our sponsorship, which is each week of this broadcast, we are fortunate to have a different weekly sponsor. This week, it's Jarrett Martin. Jarrett's really incredible, local community member, realtor, helps organize Athens Pride. He's one of our trustees. I don't know where he finds all the time to do everything. But Jarrett Martin, realtor, you'll see him tagged in the posts about this. If you're considering buying something locally, he's found innovative ways to do that even during this time period. And we really appreciate him financially supporting this week for us so we could bring this to you. So I'm going to go and bring Montu back on screen. Montu, one last thing I'm just going to show on screen here. This image here, I know it's too small on your screen to see it, but if you visit our Facebook page right now, we just posted this. We now have all 55 guests scheduled for the rest between now and June 26th. Every weekday at 1 o'clock, we'll be talking to a different community leader like Montu. Go check that out so that you can get a sense of who all is coming up. So, I see some additional supportive remarks in the comment section. Jody responded to your comments earlier to say thank you, Montu. So we agree, Jody. Thank you, Montu. And then Alex Sams, another key supporter and then community member. Alex jumped in to say blame is a word that is forbidden in my house. I appreciate Montu's thoughts on stopping the blame and let's help. So yes, Alex. Yes. And all right. So Montu. By the way, I want everyone watching. I'm not messing up Montu's name. Two is a nickname for Montu. All right. So
it is.
Some folks may think I don't know who I'm talking to. But anyway, we have been spending the last 10 minutes or so with each guest by asking the same 3 questions. Okay. That way, all 55 people are asked the same 3 questions. And so the first question here is a bit light, but it's this. Right now, so many of our favorite places around Athens are closed. And or maybe they're offering curbside, but you can't go inside or things like that. I know you're somebody that supports a lot of local small businesses. If I could wave a magic wand right now, if this could all be over right now, if tomorrow we could wake up and go anywhere we want and it would all be open again, what are some of the places in Athens you miss right now? What are some of the first places you'd like to go back to again?
Aqualinda, world famous. Let's see, where else do we like going? Hendershots. Where else? Let's see if I missed. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, we're like my family. We eat a lot of Mexican food, so I would just say every Mexican, every Mexican restaurant in Athens. We've been doing our own. We've been kind of flipping and bouncing it. So, to every Mexican restaurant in Athens, and we really love world famous too. Like, my fiance is like in love with their fries. So yeah, those kind of places, Yeah,
that's a good one. And this is a good time to include Tim's bonus question from earlier because we know that you are a connoisseur. You're someone I count on for your taste. Tim wanted to Tim asked for a recommendation. He wanted to know what beer are you enjoying right now? Any beer recommendations? So while we're all walking indoors.
Yeah, to be completely honest, like this whole time I've been going through finals and going through this online school at UGA. I'm back after 15 years. But anyways, so I haven't drank anything. But the thing that's still left in my fridge that I've had is Transmigration from Orpheus. So, but I know we're doing a beer test. We're doing a beer tasting on Saturday with the boys, DJ Chief Rocka, Calico, and Max. So we're talking about getting I know Creature has Creature Comforts has a couple of new beers.
That
we're talking about grabbing, and a couple SBC beers. So inbox me, man. We do this thing called the brew hoppers, and we do some local tastings around town. So, and I'm glad you said that because actually that would be another place I would love to go back to would be SBC or Comforts.
Yeah. Actually, right before this started, I just spoke to Brian Roth over there, and we're actually Chris Herron from Creature is going to be a guest on this a little later in the season. But we're excited about Authentic opening up. We love Terrapin. Terrapin's been a big sponsor of ours. We love Terrapin. We love Creature.
Sure.
We love SBC. Athens is spoiled when it comes to good local beer. Okay, a few other quick things here, and we'll get to those last two questions here. 1 second. Daniel Mapp said, "Nothing but love and power to you, brother, and Valentine." Thank you, Daniel. We appreciate
Thank
that.
you, Matt.
And then a few things here. Keep motivating our youth and community. It's very important that we keep paving the way for our next generation. Thanks, Montu.
Divas Tigerettes. Yeah, she runs a dance troupe called Divas Tigerettes. So keep doing your thing too, girl.
That's what's up. All right.
What's the other two questions? I know we're out of time, but what's the other?
Yeah, let's hit those two questions. So, Historic Athens does a lot of things. One of those things is historic preservation. And we've been thinking a lot about our favorite historic places. Sometimes you come out of a recession or you come out of something like this, and people get over eager to build new things. We're always glad when people build new things, but people get over eager, and that can endanger some historic sites. And so one of the questions we've been asking folks are, since there's a very good chance, Montu, that someone might be watching this interview 50, 60 years from now, what are some of your favorite historic sites that you hope that we as a community protect so that researcher 60 years from now can still go out there and visit them? Is there any historic places in Athens that come to mind for you?
Morton Theater. That comes to my mind immediately. Morton Theater should always stand. Pinky did a great thing. There was a lot of great things that happened on that corner of Athens.
Yeah.
I hate that it has the optics that it has right now with not as many Black businesses, but at the least we need to make sure that we have the sign in the ground right there and let them know that that's Hot Corner and Morton Theater. Just comes to mind. And then, because I love Linden House.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and too, it's interesting because right now we've been part of a community-wide discussion about Hot Corner, the future of Hot Corner, preserving Hot Corner. I'll just mention that I wish this could be over tomorrow so we could do Hot Corner Fest, because I know that's something that you're a part of every year, and we're going to really miss that this year. Has there been any talks about postponing it till later this year, or is it likely the next time we'll see that will be in 2021?
Honestly, not sure.
Okay.
I don't even want to try to answer that question. So, okay. I mean, everything's up in the air. People keep asking me about Hot Corner Fest and First Tuesday and all my events, and I can't give them any answers because I have no clue what's going on or what's coming. So,
well, we'll keep our ears to the ground, and we'll, of course, anyone who wants to find out more, just pay attention to the Historic Athens page. We'll be glad to share news as it comes in. So, my last question for you is this: thinking back to that future generation, that future researcher 100 years from now, if somebody's looking back at this 100 years from now, what would you want them to know about Athens during this moment in history?
I mean, in a sense, I would say we as a community, we did some things right and we did some things wrong. So I don't know. I guess dealing in with the environment we're dealing in right now is just is that Athens at least tried to maintain what's going on, whether that be good or bad. We at least tried to not. We didn't want to make it worse. Everybody stands on different sides about lifting the sheltering and whatnot. It is what it is, but I think we're just, as a people, everybody's just trying to hold on and maintain this and figure it out. I don't know. I can't really answer that question just because I think what we did right was probably just tried to maintain some sense of normalcy, which is almost impossible. So,
right. Yeah. Right. Well, Stu, thanks for sharing that. I do want to say once again, please consider visiting the comment section and supporting some of the work that Montu does and the artists he works for or works with by visiting this link in our comment section. Aside from that, we'll be back tomorrow at 1:00 as we always are. Monday, every weekday. So we'll be back on Monday at 1:00. please visit the Historic Athens Facebook page to get that full schedule. And lastly, Montu, we not only appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, we appreciate the leadership you're providing to the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. Montu and I are going to go offline. Thank you to everybody. We really appreciate it. Be safe, be healthy, and let's keep moving Athens forward. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself.